All right, let's talk. You and me. Not between the you and me now, though. Between the you and me on your deathbed. However long away that might be. And I ask you, are you happy with the way you lived? Do you have any regrets? You explained that although you didn't hate the way you lived, you could have lived it a lot better and that you do have several regrets. What were those regrets? Odds are they're going to be from this list right here. Now, I don't know you and you don't know me, but if you're human like me, you probably do at least relate to some of these regrets just like I can. Truth is, while they may not be our regrets completely right now, they definitely could be later on. I got this list from an article talking about Bronnie Ware's book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. She was a nurse that you get the idea. She asked these elderly people close to their death any regrets they had about the way that they lived. Now, first of all, there's more than 5, and there's a lot to break down from all of this. These people may have lived a life that they ended up regretting, which, if you really think about it, that is, honestly, I wouldn't wish that upon anyone, and I feel terrible for them. It sucks. It's so sad. Yeah, it's just not ideal at all. That is not how I would want my last couple of days to be remembered, as me regretting how I lived. So it does really suck, and it is sad that anyone has to go through something like that. But thankfully, for us at least, we can learn from them and live the lives that we want before it's too late and we end up the same as them. I'll be going over each of these regrets, how to solve them, some more issues and regrets that I think honestly will come up in our generation, how to solve those, and how to live a life that will give you satisfaction. When my time comes, I'll be able to make sure that I will have lived a life that I lived, that I enjoyed, and that I wanted. And I want you guys to be able to have that as well, because, I want all of us to be able to make sure we live a life that we really enjoyed and found satisfying and happy. Most of all, happy. The first regret, not doing what you really want to, I think is the most common one. Basically, is that these people hadn't been brave enough to make decisions for themselves and what they wanted for themselves. Family and your environment plays a huge role in this, and these people let these factors condition them to the jobs and objectives that other people wanted, but not what the person themselves wanted. The second regret, being more honest with your feelings, is that these people failed to express love and appreciation for others around them, especially family. They didn't do these back then in the moment, and now they never will be able to, forever keeping it with them. The next one, not having spent enough time on what really mattered, was that they never dedicated the time to do the things they actually wanted to do and pursue. They kept living their lives doing and continuing to do the daily tasks and habits they had, and never stopped to ask themselves if what they were doing is really that important and it's helping them get to the point where they want to be. So basically, they just ran on autopilot, always. Worrying too much and forgetting to live life. This regret is honestly, I think, the worst one out of all of them. These people spent way too much time just worrying constantly, worrying about stuff that didn't ever usually even happen, just always scenarios in their head, and they always forgot to live in the present moment. This one probably impacted these people the most because it's who they spent the most time with, and that was to understand love properly. These people spent most of their lifetime with the wrong person and stayed with them far too much longer than they ever really should have in the first place. The rest of them are pretty obvious when you read them. Friends that they should have taken care of, not taking care of their health, and traveling more. Now, some new regrets that I think that relates to nowadays that the people of our generation can relate to more that these people really didn't, is that they didn't have to experience all the negatives that come with social media and video entertainment. Social media, although it does have many positives, comes with so many more negatives that we don't even think about, because let's face it, most of us are just flat out addicted. I saw a clip the other day of this little kid, and he was probably around elementary school age, and basically the entire time that he was there getting his haircut at a barbershop, he didn't stop watching and scrolling on YouTube Shorts once. He came to the barbershop staring at the phone, walked to his seat to get his haircut, and while he's literally getting his haircut he was still on his mom's phone, having her hold it for him while he sat in the chair and scrolling through it for him as he sat there the whole entire time. After he was done with his haircut, he literally just got up, took the phone, walked with his mom, and stared at it the entire time until they left. Now, I don't think if you're watching this that you don't have control over this addiction to social media, but sometimes for pretty much all of us, it can definitely get out of hand. Binging TikTok for hours before going to bed, watching Netflix and binge watching an entire season in one night. I feel like all of us have done that at one point. Next thing you know, it's 1:15 a.m. and you still have to work tomorrow, and you still have to brush your teeth too. We've got to look at the negatives and the positives and determine which outweighs which. The negatives from social media, from too much of it, can lead to lower life satisfaction, poor self-esteem, disrupted sleep, and is highly addictive, as we all know already, which in turn burns through your time. If you look at your screen time and the time you spend on social media is over 2 hours, if you continue at this rate, which, let's be honest, is only likely to get higher the more we do it, you'll have spent 5 years and 4 months of your entire life on social media. 5 whole years. Over 40,000 hours. Now, you might argue that this might not be time wasted, and there are a couple positives that come from it, like helping people stay in touch and networking, being more supportive and kind to others more often and reaching out, and those funny TikToks of dogs splashing water in the pool when their owner told them not to. But this does not outweigh the negatives at all. Now, this isn't your fault. These companies literally depend on you using their apps so they can make a living, so they make it as addictive as possible. The same neurocognitive reward system that is activated from gambling and getting food is also activated while scrolling on social media. They do this on purpose so they can make money from the advertisers that pay them to show you and advertise their products. Research shows that social media has also made it harder for us to create and maintain relationships with others, and some also lose feelings of empathy and emotion over time. Our attention span also becomes shorter as from all the scrolling on TikTok and Reels and YouTube Shorts, and it actually makes it harder for us to focus on things or objectives as it rewires our brain. Now that we've gone over all the problems and regrets that the first version of you laying on your deathbed may regret or will regret, now we can go over how to be more like the second version of us on our deathbed that lived a life that we wanted, that was satisfying and led us to be happy and have memorable memories. For starters, to make sure that you're not getting dragged into what you truly don't want to do, first of all, you have to make sure that you at some point have to start sticking up for yourself and speaking up about what you want and what you want to do, and just coming to terms and asking yourself the right questions. You have to make sure that you don't just do what people are suggesting that you think you would be good at. You have to really step back and ask yourself if it's something that you truly find enjoyable and interesting. And you have to do this for yourself and take action for this. No matter who suggests what, you have to make sure that it's what you want, and completely, seriously. So take a step back, slow down, and just ask yourself what you want to try. That thing that you've always thought about maybe, but you never really took action on. Once you figure that out, devise a plan for starting it and try to make it work well with your schedule, and just do what you can to start, because starting is the hardest part. If you're still not sure of what you want to do, but it's not what people are suggesting, so you're kind of just confused and lost, my next video I plan on completely devoting on to solve that problem, on how to figure out what you really want to do. So subscribe if you're finding this video helpful so far, but I also can't lie, there is also plenty of other videos online on YouTube, so check those out as well. Definitely do the research. Now, I've personally been definitely victim to this. Right out of high school, I felt like no matter what I had been thinking or wanted to do, that I needed to go to college. Straight out of high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So if you're like me, you choose business because you have no idea what the fuck you want to do, and that's the one with the most options you can do with. And I am glad I did do it, but at some point too, I just had no clue what I was doing it for. You may think that you don't have the work ethic or the talent or the passion for whatever you want to try, but trust me, if you try what truly interests you, you'll work like you've never had to before. You have to. But just break it down step by step. Make it simple and just focus on the task at hand. I ended up going to the local junior college, and I did grind out my 2 years, and I'm just now finally finishing my associates. But for the last year and a half, honestly, all I've been thinking about is starting YouTube and just really getting back into the social media world, because I did used to be a part of it before that I kind of liked, but kind of mostly just for fun. And I think I really started to realize how much I really enjoyed it. In the back of my mind, all I've been thinking about is YouTube and the opportunity of this that I want to do, and just trying it out and testing it for myself, because even if it's not a common thing to do at all, I wanted to try it because I want to step out of my comfort zone. As the time came to finally choose a new school to transfer to, I really started to reflect on myself and what I wanted and just what I've been doing in school and if I was enjoying it or not. And to be honest, I was fucking dreading it. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy school at all. There's a lot of aspects I did enjoy, but to some extent too, especially when you're going to local junior college, at least, it just didn't drive me anymore at all to be more motivated to keep going to school. I would skip class whenever I could. I would sleep in. I would do the bare minimum. I would do ChatGPT as much as I could, whenever I could. As the time came to choose a new school, I really took a second back and started to reflect on what I really wanted and what I was enjoying, and if it was worth the next. Because first of all, it's a lot of money that you're investing into yourself. I don't even know right now if I really just want to use it. I really had no idea, so I just want to take a second back and take a gap year to really figure out what I want to do and make sure that I'm spending my time for myself. I'm trying to figure out if it's going to be more or go back to it. There's a lot to think about for sure. But I will say that right now I do feel a lot less stressed and happier with what I chose to do. And I want to embark on this new journey of YouTube as well, because I think that'd be very interesting and I think it'd be fun, and creating a community would be amazing. It's the first time in my life that I felt like I chose something completely on my own, not off of what other people have been suggesting me to do or what I've been told I'm good at. This is just me choosing what I want. The regrets that these elderly people had of being more honest of their feelings clearly has a simple solution. Don't hold back on shooting your shot, saying I'm sorry, and forgiving and making sure to move on. Being honest too has been proven by researchers to actually make people happier, form deeper connections in relationships, and way less likely to be a drug addict. Not that you were down that path at all, but basically an honest life is a good life. So be honest with your feelings, no matter how uncomfortable it may make you. Otherwise, you're gonna regret it. For worrying too much and forgetting to live life, whenever you may be feeling stressed and worried, just ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Am I able to control what I am worrying about? Oftentimes, we worry about things that we couldn't do anything at all about. Focus on what you can do and how you can react to the situation in the present moment. What can you do now to deal with the problem? What can you control? Don't worry about what you can't control or what could happen in the future. These people that had these regrets wish that they hadn't allowed stress and worry from preventing them from living in the present moment and just taking a second to really realize that there's so much more to appreciate in life. So sometimes in these moments when it's getting difficult, just sit back, relax, and just take a second to really think about what you're grateful and appreciative of. Maybe it's watching your kids grow up. Maybe it's that you got a roof to stay under and a car to take you places, or simply that you just have some food tonight to eat that's gonna taste amazing. Not having spent time on what really mattered is another obvious one to answer, to solve. It's really easy to see the answer, but it's obviously very hard and difficult to do this. Otherwise, it'd be so much more uncommon for this to be a problem. How to solve this is to try to remember the next time that you're doing a task or habit that you're doing regularly on your day off. Sit back and just really think to yourself for a second if what you're doing is actually important and helping you to get to where you want to be. Create goals. That's another thing too. Create goals, which this also really ties in with doing what you really want. and then figure out that first step. The first real step is to identify your goal. Then, like I talked about a little bit before, is to really try and break it down into smaller, simpler steps. Just make sure that you're not overwhelming yourself. You can't climb a mountain and keep staring at the top, because that's gonna lead to you not being able to watch where you're walking, and you have to watch where you're walking and take it one step at a time to make sure you're doing it right and safe to get all the way up there to the top. Just one step at a time. A good way that you should get yourself started is by studying and becoming informed. In order to know what you want to do, you have to know everything about it. So in your spare time, start trying to read about it, whether it's online or in person. Watch videos on it. There's literally all of YouTube. There's so many people in so many different things that you can find a video on anything about it now, about any certain topic. So just watch whatever and read whatever you can. Personally, I never used to read. I haven't honestly read since I was in 5th grade, and that was the last time I honestly did it outside of school for enjoyment. I would only read when I have to, when you get popcorned on in high school and you have to read that stupid Shakespeare play, or you have to just read in class, in any English class pretty much. That's the only time I'd pretty much read, when I had to. These last 2 months, however, I've started to become obsessed with trying to learn more about myself and becoming more informed about so many different things, that including YouTube, including self-improvement, and just trying to better my life and habits overall. So I've been getting a bunch of books on that and just reading as much as I can, and most importantly, not just reading, but studying it and taking notes and writing it down, making sure I'm learning what I want from it and applying it, as much of it as I can, to my life. If you know what you want, go out there and first of all, just study it and become informed, because that will let you be able to make so many more decisions that will help you make the right one. A piece of advice that really has been helping me is note-taking while reading, which I just mentioned, but it really does start to make a difference. And of course, attaining and remembering information easier is probably the most important thing. I've now got books related to the niche I'm interested in, books about how YouTube works, and books about getting my mindset to the place I need to be for this. Invest in yourself. Spend the money when you can, and it makes sense to here and there, because becoming informed will make you much more confident. Be picky with who you choose as your partner. Who you choose as your partner says a lot about you and what you know, and about what you want in a relationship and what you don't. Understand the basis of a healthy love, as people who do it are very often associated with life satisfaction. This is your best friend. This is a person that you're going to be spending the most time around with of anyone for the rest of your entire life. You guys are going to be raising kids together. You're going to be goofing off late at night, and you guys are going to be making each other laugh. If you're not sure what you want in a relationship, if you don't have that experience, or you're just unsure based off bad experiences in the past, again, start to just learn and study and become informed on what you do want, and also learn what you don't want. The person that you choose says a lot about you. So if you are choosing someone that doesn't treat you and other people and represent what you really stand for as a person, that's going to be saying a lot about you. So pretty much just know your self-worth and make sure you're ready to watch out for those red flags if they do come up. And just know, don't forget your self-value and your self-worth. You are an absolute catch. Make sure that you are being treated as well as you deserve to be, because you and I both know that you deserve the best. A great way to find the relationship you want is to become the person you'd want in a partner. If you treat them the way you want to be treated, they'll treat you the same. Become the best partner, the partner that does everything that you would want in a partner. Lack of risk-taking due to feelings of insecurity and fear is proven by a study done by the University of Tilburg, some place in the Netherlands, to lead to regret later in life. So as long as you know you can and the situation makes sense, go. People that take risks and take action are proven to be happier, and the rushes of dopamine and adrenaline that come from these actions can be some of the best moments actually in a person's life. So like Nike, full send it. Obviously, don't be dumb. Don't do a dare that could kill you or anything like that, but be smart with your risks and take them when it makes sense to you. You'll be a lot happier that you did. Stay in touch with your friends. Here's how. Figure out what your friend needs from you. Figure out the aspects of your friendship that are the important ones that can't be changed no matter what. Next, set up parameters about how you'll stay in touch. Figure out the minimum of how often and what you both need to feel like you guys are still in touch. But the next one is to remind your friends that you think about them, why they're special, and why their friendship is special to you. Then talk about the future. Psychology research shows that foreshadowing the future and talking about it is important of what motivates us to put time and effort into our relationships. Be there when it matters and when they need your support. Set a time to actually spend time together. And lastly, share things about yourself. These are much more for when you and that friend don't live as close anymore, but still you can use these for all your friendships and use them now. Be the friend just like in what you would want in a partner. Be the friend that you would want. If you're like me, especially if you're younger, around the college age, odds are you like shit. Not complete crap, but processed foods pretty much here and there, especially breakfast. Personally, for me, that's been Jimmy Dean breakfast sandwiches, chimichangas, or, frozen beef and bean burritos, and pizza pockets. Now, right now, these aren't going to cause a problem for us, especially when we are younger like this. But later on in life, that's definitely going to come back and hurt us more than we think about. Just like not staying active and fit and healthy, not taking care of our body, making bad decisions like smoking or vaping, and drinking excessively. Drinking's not bad completely, of course, but if you do it too much or at the wrong times, obviously that's going to be terrible. These are all going to cause problems for us later on that are going to lead to so many more health issues than we think about and realize. Our bodies from now, 10, 20 years from now, are not going to be able to repair themselves the way that they do now. So just keep that in mind that someday it's all going to start slowing down. Later on, our bodies are not going to be able to take care of itself and repair itself from all the issues and problems that we're causing it as easily as it does right now. Your body is your house, so take care of it and it'll take care of you. Don't, and later on, you'll have to be constantly taking care of it, and those issues may never go away. Next, the answer is obvious with this. The regret of not traveling more means simply to travel. They really mean though, do it when you're younger, as you've got less responsibilities to worry about. It gives you a greater perspective on life that you can apply more for longer. You have great memories from it and you meet so many new people. So basically just when you can, travel. Save some money and budget so when the opportunity comes, you can go. The longer you wait and push off traveling, the more stuff that's going to be coming up in your life that's preventing you as we continue to all get older. Social media has to at least be trimmed down a little bit, if not as much as possible, if you really want a satisfactory life. When you were scrolling on TikTok earlier, do you remember much of any of the TikToks that you watched? I know that I barely do. I maybe remember 2 or 3 and then that's it. It's actually preventing us from so many more experiences and opportunities than we realize. Imagine those 5 years of your life that you're giving away to social media, while instead you could be making new hobbies, you could be hanging out with more people, you could be working and studying more at your craft or your job that you really enjoy and love, and also just maybe even being bored. Nowadays, whenever we are bored, we just go on our phones and that's a quick fix to being bored, and it kills the time that we have to wait for something, waiting in line at a restaurant, waiting in the airport, waiting in so many different things. We hardly anymore are bored. Next time you're hanging with your friends and you're all sitting on your phones taking a break because you guys are bored and it's already been a while of this, do something about it. Suggest something to do, bring up a conversation to catch their attention. You're gonna remember that moment a lot more than just sitting on your phones in silence. With how expensive gas is now too, when you are driving out to a friend's place or you walk all the way there and you're spending your precious time with people and friends,
make sure to spend it doing something and in the moment and not just sitting on your phone. I'm not saying it's not bad to do it here and there, but think about it. Nobody has ever in our lifetime of humans existing has ever just sat next to each other and just essentially ignored each other while hanging out.
Don't be a slave to your phone. Start taking back control of yourself and what you want to be spending your time on doing. Because next thing you know, you're going to be on your deathbed and you're going to be wishing for another 5 years that you had spent differently. Look, I can tell you right now, especially personally, that you're not exactly also just worried about what you can and cannot do and achieve, but at some point you're also just worried about what other people are going to think. And I get it. I was in that boat for a very long time and just worried if people would find me cringy or stupid or just not making sense or dumb. What really helped me get past this stuff was some stuff that I found online, and it was basically, you have to think of it like this. When you are looking back on your life, odds are these people are not even going to remember who you are and what you did and what you chose to do. And same for them, you're not going to remember a lot of them. We all tend to think that everyone is looking our way, watching our every move, every decision that we make, every post that we make, every decision that we decide to show to the world. And that's definitely not the case at all, basically. Truth is, people have so much other shit that they're dealing with themselves that they're way too focused and busy on themselves to be worrying about what you're doing.
Psychologists call this the spotlight effect, where we think that the world revolves around us, that everyone is watching. No one is. At least not anywhere near as much as you have it going on in your head. So you're free to do and try whatever you want, because nearly no one will even notice that you're doing it because they're busy dealing with their life. And if you do get people, especially friends, that give you crap and are just negative and don't see where you're coming from and judging you, maybe they aren't the type of people you should even be around in the first place. Something that really changed my perspective is some advice from Rui Ohama. She's a YouTuber, go watch her. She has great advice, but she explains how people speak and give their thoughts always on how they would deal with the situation that you're in, as if they were you, not you. And this is natural, as we all tend to give our perspective on things and how we would go about them, what we think of them, because that's what they do. They're giving their best advice to help you because they care about you, because that's what they would do. So basically, everybody is thinking based on what they would do in your situation, not you. So just keep that in mind. If your friend or whoever you're talking to harshly denies what you want to do, that's them really just showing that they're uncomfortable and wouldn't do it themselves, and simply that it's not best for you because they wouldn't do it. But of course, they aren't you.
Take advice from only the people you want to be like. And while that may be your friends and certain qualities that they have, you should also be looking especially at those people that you really look up to and you see online that really are exactly who you want to be. There's a reason why they made it and you look up to them. So you can really take a step back and just try to learn as much as you can from them so that you can end up taking all the best aspects from them and applying it to yourself. Learn from them so you can make it too, because obviously they did something right.
Also, don't be afraid of failing, because if you aren't failing at all, then you're never going to get better at what you want to do. Who cares that you failed, that you might be humiliated today? Everybody that you know, 3 generations from now will be dead no matter what. And then nobody's gonna even remember you. Don't let these opinions and thoughts from others shape and shift you into what others want. Don't let anybody, no matter who, tell you what you can and can't do. Care little about the opinion of other people and give your own opinion more priority. Trust yourself in your process. Know what you want and go after it with everything in you, because if you're not giving yourself 100%, nobody will. You'll be looking back on this moment and wondering on that deathbed, what if I tried with everything in me to make it work? Try now, so you don't ask yourself thinking of the life you could have lived, but instead reflect on and be satisfied with the life you did live. You're trying, and trying is what's going to be the difference between a regretful life and a fulfilled life.
We just have to take it one day at a time and focus on becoming the best version of ourselves and visualizing it every day, no matter what. Look, you are your biggest project and you are the most important person in this world, because that's you. And although that's obvious, you are going to be the one that is going to have to deal with the results of the project and what you put into it. So work for yourself, so that when the time comes and you're looking at those end results with that nurse on the deathbed, you're not going to have any to tell her. Thank you guys so much. If you guys made it to the end of this video, my name's Aiden, but feel free to call me AO. It's a lot easier to memorize. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button and commenting any thoughts or questions or comments that you guys have down below. I would love to respond to them. Also, think about subscribing to this channel if you really enjoyed this content and you really found it helpful. I plan on making a couple videos soon that I mentioned earlier in this video. Have an amazing rest of your guys' day. And one last question, what color is your deathbed gonna be?